Hi guys, Peter Finch here, and this is my, what would have been, Quest for the Open, What's in the Bag. I thought I would do it anyway. A lot of you guys have been asking me for a What's in the Bag, a kind of new What's in the Bag for quite some time now. So I thought I'd delve right in and do it anyway. So these are the clubs which I potentially would have been using in the Open Championship if I hadn't got injured. Managed to get through first qualifying and final qualifying at odds of about 60 million to 1. So a hopeful, sad, and yet video. Here it is. What's in the bag? Now I'm still injured. I still can't kind of hit full shots just yet. So I'm going to kind of clip a few away one-handed just because I want to. It feels a lot more comfortable talking to video like that. But I'll start with the bottom end of my bag. Now these wedges have been in my bag for a couple of seasons now. They're probably, out of all the clubs that I'm using, these are probably going to be the ones which will be changed next. But all I'm going to say is they'll probably be changed next simply because I want some slightly fresher, more spinny faces. I think I might just go for the same wedges. I'll try a few different ones out, but I absolutely love these. The Cleveland RTX 588, the 2.0 versions, and when these kind of came out a couple of seasons ago, these were the roughest faces that you could get in golf, as far as friction is concerned, as far as spin is concerned. And really, they're pretty much everything I want. They're very versatile, off a number of different kind of lies. They spin a lot, they look great, and they feel solid, they feel lovely. They're probably one of the best wedges I've actually ever had. So I'm very, very happy with these. Like I said, I'll try some of the others that are out there at the moment. I know the McDaddies are a very good wedge. I've had a hit of those. So I'll try out a few more. But I've got these in a 60 degree, a 56 degree, and then a 52 degree. I've got a 4 wedge makeup if I include my pitching wedge, but that's into my iron set. And I feel that that works very, very well for me. Shaft is a Tour stiff dynamic gold, but really it's you can kind of class it as an X stiff really. But when it comes down to wedges, I think most people really wouldn't be able to tell the difference too much. But let's hop on. Bounce wise, I've got 12 degrees of bounce here on my 56. I've got 12 degrees of bounce on my 60 as well. Sorry, my 52. And then I've got 10 degrees of bounce on my lob wedge. Just throw that in there. So jump up onto the irons here, and I would have to say these are probably my favourite irons I've ever had. And you know, saying that, I've had quite a few over the number of years, but these really are something fantastic. So they're the Taylormade Psi Forged, so the Tour version, and they are soft, they are forgiving, they are workable, they look brilliant, and it all comes together into a package which is amazing. It really, really is good. It's a bit funny really, because I reckon if in realistic terms, a forged iron head which looks like this, there are a number out there, and you know what, I could wheel quite a few into this bay, hit them all away, and be really, really happy with them. But because I had to wait a little bit longer for these, because the excitement was building when I actually got them, I think by the time I got them, I was literally salivating at the mouth to actually hit them. And when they lived up to expectations, all of a sudden, they've lifted to another level in my mind. But I really, really do like them. I've got the X100 in these, and I've got a mid-sized grip on. All my grips are pretty much mid-sized now. The driver is slightly thinner, I think, because I'm more used to that feeling, but we'll get onto that in a moment. So mid-sized grip, X-stiff shaft. I've got these from the 4-iron down to the pitching wedge. I do have a 3-iron as well in this, but I've got another club in that area of my bag which I'm currently using, and we'll get onto that next. But yeah, I think if you're looking for a good forged iron that feels soft, that goes a decent distance, then yeah, the PSI Tour, absolutely love them. Move on, get a bit excited. So next up, top end of my bag. Like I said, I do have a 3-iron in my PSI set, and the way that the PSI irons work, the 8-iron, the 9-iron, the wedge, they don't have face slots. They have a channel on the bottom, but when you start to get to the 7-iron up to the 3-iron, they have face slots which add a little bit more forgiveness. But because of the size of the club head, I don't really feel that they give masses of forgiveness. I think they give a little bit, but when it starts to get to the top end of the bag, you've just still got to strike it really, really well. And I did have a crossover, a Ping G crossover in the bag earlier this year, but I was struggling with it a little bit for some reason, and I put this hybrid in. Now, I've never, ever been a massive fan of hybrids, Very, very good for kind of higher handicap players. I would advocate higher handicap players use hybrids all the time, but I've never really been able to get used to them. I always found that the ball went left for some reason, mainly because of the perimeter weighting that I put in them, not just for any reason. But I started to use this Ping G hybrid at the start of this year, later on, after I kind of got rid of the crossover kind of in the springtime. And you know what? It's been an absolute revelation. This is probably one of my favourite clubs in my bag now. I can use it out of most lies. It's good off the tee, and it gives me that little bit more punch at the top end of my bag and a little bit more confidence. Now, I've got this in the 19 degree. In reality, it goes further than my PSI 3 iron, but because I use quite a strong lofted 3 wood, it kind of has that gapping, it kind of gaps very well at the top end of that bag. It's, like I said, it's such a strange one for me because I never considered really using a hybrid until I got this one. The other hybrids that I used that I did quite like were the Adams ones from a few years ago. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, and I quite like using the Udi Driving Iron as well. But this is really just kind of top the bunch, to be honest. Not sure how good this is going to be kind of one-handed. So it's in 19... not bad. It's 19 degrees. It's got an X-Stiff Tour 90 shaft and a mid-size grip on there as well. So shaft's quite heavy for a graphite, but I just love the feel of it. I really, really do. Big revelation, this one. So next up is my Fairway Wood. Now again, this was one of the big surprises for me of the year because I used to use the G33 wood and I actually got rid of it out of my bag because I found it too hard to hit. You know, for a G30, a more forgiving club, you would have thought it'd be easy to hit, but for some reason I could not get used to it. But again, I tried this last year in Arizona when the new Ping G range was kind of revealed, and wow, what an absolutely fantastic 3 wood. I've got this cranked down slightly. So it comes in a 14.5 head, but I've actually cranked it down to 14 degrees, so it's a strong 3 wood. But the technology in this is a wider sole and it picks the ball up a lot quicker. So even though it's a 14 degree, and I can hit it low if I want to, it actually gets up into the air pretty easy. It's quite a strong 3 wood. I think with the way that my 19 degree hybrid work, I think the gapping is pretty good there. But I could adjust the loft if I wanted to, but I'm happy with the way it's performing. It's very similar as far as my hybrid is concerned as far as the shaft. It's a Tour X stiff, but it's 80 grams rather than the 90, so it's a tiny bit lighter. Mid-size grip on there as well. The technology which has changed from the G, like I said, it is wider on the sole. It picks up a little bit easier. It's kind of got the turbulators on, which apparently increase clubhead speed. I do hit this a long way. I think the turbulator technology on the hybrid and the 3 wood is nowhere near as effective as it is on the driver, just because of the surface area that the driver kind of occupies rather than the 3 wood occupies. It being a smaller head, I can shift it through quicker anyway. But yeah, big surprise. Big surprise with this 3 wood. And you know what? Again, with the hybrid, it's one of my favourite clubs in the bag now. Let's get on to the club I know you've been waiting for. Big stick. Driver. Now, what can I say about driver? I'm pretty lucky in respects that I get to try a lot of different drivers out, and certainly this is something which has switched around quite a lot in my bag over the last kind of year or so. I was using the M1, which I absolutely loved, but it wasn't quite giving me the forgiveness. I used a 430 head. I could swing it fast, I could hit it a long way, but it just wasn't the whole package really. So what I did is I tried the G driver, and I was using that in the early part of this year. Really enjoyed using it, liked the forgiveness, just didn't like the sound and the feel of it. The numbers didn't lie with the G. I was using the LS Tech version and it was really good. I can't deny that it was really good, but it just didn't sound and feel like I wanted to. So I was considering getting the M1 in the 460 head, but then I started trying the M2, which is basically just an M1 with the fixed weights. I'm sure you're kind of familiar with the design, the multi-material construction here, carbon crown kind of fused into the titanium head for lightness. This is a 10.5 degree head. I've actually got it cranked down so it's 9 degrees. With the adjustability on these, that makes it easy to do. I could have just got the 9.5 degree head and changed it slightly, but this is the one which I had kind of to hand when I tried it. I've got the speed pocket in the bottom and all the rest of that jazz, but really what you want to know is how it's performing, and it is performing very well. The big reason why I was using the LS Tech and the M1 was to keep the spin rates down. And I've got to be honest, I was expecting this to spin up quite a lot, but it simply didn't. It just got me around that 2,000 revs of spin, which I really wanted for my driver. And when I teed up and hit up a little bit more, I can get it a little bit lower than that as well. So it's turned out to be really more luck than judgment in finding what is a fantastic driver. There's loads of different drivers come out all the time, so I'm always going to leave myself open to try different things, but this is certainly the best I've had so far. I've got the Dealer Rogue kind of shaft in here. It's a 70 gram X stiff, and I've been using this shaft really with all my drivers for the last year because I find it's just nice and stable. I like the feel of it. And yeah, easy as that. I won't hit this one-handed. I'll just swing. Now moving on to other stuff within my bag, I use the Torex Bushnell Rangefinder, which I enjoy using. I've got to be honest, I don't think it's the most reliable and the most accurate one out there, but it's nice and lightweight and it kind of does the job. If it doesn't work first time, you just click it again and it does it second time. I think I'm on the lookout for maybe trying a GPS next. I've got stuff on my iPhone, I've got my kind of iWatch, but the only problem is with those I can't use them in competition. So I'm going to be trying a few different ones of those out, but I think for now that's one of the top performers and there's nothing really wrong with it, so I'll carry on using that. The balls that I'm using at the moment, they're the Nike RZN Platinum, Resin Platinum, RZN, very English of me, Resin Platinum balls. They're the ones that Rory is currently using at the moment in time. I was surprised, generally speaking, by the Nike ball because Nike have always had a bit of a reputation of having slightly duff balls, let's face it. But in the last year or so, the new ones, I think they're brilliant. I honestly do. It was such a big surprise when I was trying them because I went into it with maybe a bit of a mindset of, you know, are these actually going to be any good? But yeah, I was suitably impressed when I tried them. And I started to use the black ones to begin with, the harder version, but I kind of switched up to the platinum. Didn't really see much of a loss in distance, but actually an increased amount of feel around the greens. So I was very, very happy with that, and I've used them throughout the year. And I'll carry on using them as well, I think. There's no reason to change. I've compared them to kind of the Pro Vs, the Chrome Softs, and the Taylormade balls. And again, I didn't really see much of a difference. So, yeah, biggest probably surprise in my bag, I'd say, this year. Now, the putter that I'm using at this moment in time is the Spider Blade Counterbalance, the 2.0 version. I've got it in a 38-inch shaft. And I've tried loads of different putters over this last year, and it's the one which keeps coming out on top. So it must be doing something right. I have to admit, I'm not in love with it. I honestly find it hard to describe the relationship I have with my putter because I know it works, and I get it out and I have confidence in it. But I don't love the feel of it. I don't love the look of it. It just seems to get the ball in the hole more often than anything else that I've tried. Now, I'm going to be kind of trialing a few different putters maybe over the next few weeks. I've got some very interesting ones on the way which I'm going to review as well. So stay tuned for that. But I think it's going to take something quite special to actually shift that club from my bag because, like I said, it works. And generally, you don't want to be changing stuff just for the sake of it. If you're going to change something in your bag, it needs to perform better. I was using the Nike putters, the new putters that Rory and kind of Tiger have. Well, not Tiger, but Rory. And I loved it on the practice green, but when I got out to the course, it just wasn't performing. Didn't like the feel of it, and kind of went back to Spider Blade straight away, and it felt kind of much better and performed better, but again, without me falling head over heels in love with it. It's a very confusing relationship I have with my putter. It's complicated, is the best way of describing it. So yeah, I might try something different going forward. We'll have to see. Right, guys, thanks for watching. That is my quest for the Open, what's in the bag completed. Like I said, I'm gutted that I wasn't able to use these clubs in the last 5 weeks pretty much and certainly give it a go at Open qualifying. But fingers crossed, going into next year, we'll see what changes in there, see if anything comes out which kind of takes my fancy a little bit more. We'll have to see. But for now, I'm happy with that set. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on my other social media platforms as well, which are linked in the description below. And we'll see you down here next time.